What's up? So last month I attended the Cyberforce competition that's hosted by the Department of Energy. And you might be wondering, are you in college? Is that why you're talking about this? No. It's an event that I did for a long time and now has a special place in my heart. So I go back and I volunteer all the time. And normally I'd write about this stuff on my blog, but in this case I don't really have much to say other than it was a good time. So I figure why not mess with a video format for once. And let me tell you, I was for sure busy. I mean, this is the only photo I got the entire event here at the table with the anomaly authors, and here's all the different teams competing. At a new venue this year. Venue was pretty good. Um, I don't know if this is common knowledge or not, but this event actually wasn't supposed to run this year. I think a lot of people know that there was a government shutdown back in November, and this was one of the things that obvious, like a competition for cybersecurity. Why would that still be paid for? In this case, I think from what I heard, it was the organizers going to whoever their management was and saying like, "Hey guys, if we don't run this year, this entire program is dead." Which I mean makes sense. It would have been total short notice and they already had like people registered and doing the work. And so to take that away at the last minute would be crazy. So I'm honestly really glad it ran. And for context, I guess, if you're a CTF person, you probably don't know this, but the format is way more involved. Teams are given stuff weeks in advance. They're given the access to the network ahead of time. There's still a red v blue component going on, but on top of that, before the event, you need to turn in security documentation detailing all of the vulnerabilities you found. You need to make a risk management like video for a fake C-suite, like a CISO, CEO, to explain like what the current risk posture is, what's going on in the network, are things bad? And then you also, I don't think they had people write website from scratch this year, but you have a green team that also needs to check a public, quote unquote, public facing website. And it's, as you can tell, way more involved than a normal red v blue event. But honestly, like, especially for college students where you have the time, this is a way better format, I feel, than CCDC, where it's very gamified and it's like every man for themselves. I'm not going to go into detail about the event itself. I mean, not really any surprises, right? University of Central Florida wins again. Tennessee does well. Texas does well. Um, I'll be honest, I don't really know anything that happened on the blue team side because I was too busy on the red team trying to hack blue teams. I think this year I had three teams I was working with. And another behind the scenes thing is that maybe you noticed if you were a competitor, maybe you didn't. The assumed breach stuff was all scripted. So instead of having, instead of our red team lead trying to coordinate 100 people to do the exact same commands when some of them still didn't really understand what a reverse shell was, that was all pre-scripted, and then I could just focus on pen testing for 8 hours. So I had my playlist going. I was hacking people. I actually, another thing I wanted to talk about was I actually was one of the people involved in setting up vulnerabilities in the environment. So I'm actually pretty happy with how some of that turned out. I'm sure if you were a competing team, you probably noticed that some of the things that should have been vulnerabilities, like, were not fully enabled or fleshed out, and that's my fault. I'm stupid and lazy, and I didn't actually check if certain things were working. I had like Active Directory certificate templates that were vulnerable, and then when I actually put them up, I forgot to enable them. So like half of the attack chains I made just didn't work. And then you can see this is behind the scenes here, looking at this kill chain doc. This was how what we were looking at to grade responses, and so this was one of the kill chains I designed. I'm not actually going to say too much about it because I don't want to spoil. You could probably figure it out if you take a closer look at these Wireshark screenshots. But honestly, I'm kind of proud of this one specifically because everyone knows who the top teams are, and I did manage to fool one of the top teams with this, and they didn't figure it out, and I'm very happy that they didn't. Because I'm going to be honest, this was ripped straight from like a pen test I did. This was awesome. Don't really have much else to say. The experience red teaming is very good. If that's something you're into and you're out of the event and you're moving on to work stuff, I highly recommend coming back and just red teaming for a bit because you get to talk with so many people and it's honestly just a chill and fun time. Uh, I guess the only other thing that's here to talk about is messing with teams. So I got the opportunity to work with like let's call them a not high scoring team, a middle of the road scoring team, and then a high scoring team. So I could tell really early on that the high scoring team was going to be like a top 10 placer. So then I figured I'd hit him with this. And let me tell you, when I showed this to the other people in the red team room, it cracked us up, dude. I I don't think I mean, I think there's like a trust relationship there, right? That they feel like they have to do what I say. So maybe this is exploitative, but God, was it funny to say Bazinga in the chat unironically? Also, against the low scoring team, at a certain point, I just accepted that they were going to be bottom of the leaderboard. Or not bottom, but definitely not high up. So I have a script that when I run it on a machine as root, it replaces part of the bootloader with a Nyan cat. So I hit a bunch of their boxes with that. Oh, no, I actually didn't even use that in this case. What I used was I replaced a bunch of their executables with Nyan cat binaries that when you execute it just puts the meme cat up on screen. For context, it's that guy. But yeah, I basically sent them into paranoia mode. Red teaming's fun. Feels good to not be a blue teamer. And yeah, that's basically the Cyberforce recap. I don't. I figured it was worth talking about. I don't see many people talking about this event. I like this event a lot. Looking forward to going there next year. Yeah, that's it. Bye bye. See ya.